You're listening to the BathTub Refinishing Podcast, powered by BathTub Guys Refinishing. We discuss the refinishing industry, interview owners and operators, and give tips to business owners and entrepreneurs. Now, here's your host, Daniel Montalvo.
Hello, everybody. We're back. This is going to be the second episode with Mike from Snaves Refinishing,
Thank you.
serving in the Spring Hill area. So those, people that are in that area might need something.
Yes, sir. I got the finest finishings in Spring Hill.
So I wanted to touch base on warranty stuff because this is kind of a topic that I haven't talked about a lot on here. What kind of warranty do you offer?
I offer a 5-year warranty for my bathtubs and my countertops and my cabinet and concrete coatings.
Okay, and it's like 5 years, pretty much anything that happens within reason, right? Like
Within reason.
as long as they don't throw a hammer at it.
Right. If they, if I do a garage floor and someone's in there doing burnouts on it,
Yep.
I'm not covering it.
100%.
If, I do a tub and, someone drops a hammer on it and it ends up chipping the paint, I'm going to do that. You're going to pay for that repair.
Okay.
Uh, as far as anything else goes, within reason, if it's peeling around the drain or if there's like a little bit of primer that's still showing, yeah, that's totally my fault, and I'm gonna fix that, and it's at no cost to anybody. Same thing with like, uh, if if I'm doing countertops and someone's like, "Oh, the pattern's a little uneven here," like I'm like, "Okay, cool, yeah, I'll just touch that up." I'm there to make the customer happy.
100%.
And you know, if you help the customer too, even if you're like, hey, I got a bathtub, your sink is going to be tan and your bathtub is not, you know,
Hmm.
I'm going to throw this paint away. You want me to shoot your sink so it matches your tub? No charge to you guys. And usually they're like, hell yeah, dude, let's do
Yeah,
it.
of course.
And so I feel like that also like builds kind of a relationship with the customer
It
as
also
well.
provides value too.
Right.
And that's what we're in the business of, guys, because is if everyone in town is offering the same, um how do you distinguish yourself?
Right.
It goes back to what we touched on in the beginning. You stand out with your communication, you stand out with what you provide,
Yep.
you stand out with throwing something in every now and then if you're already there
Yeah.
and just providing more value to the customer. And
Absolutely.
that's how you build like you have a solid word of mouth apparatus,
Yeah.
Um one of the things I wanted to touch on because you do offer like uh a 5-year warranty, which is like in the industry standard, right?
Yeah.
Like most guys who trust their work have no issue offering that kind of
Right.
warranty. Um, you know, in these groups on Facebook, one of them in particular, I don't know if you're in any of them.
I'm in a lot of Facebook groups.
Okay, well, there's
I'm kind of hiding though. I'm the guy that likes to watch.
okay, there's one in there ran by a gentleman who works for a large manufacturer, um, and in there was a guy asking, yeah, how do I get out of like honoring warranties for like 5 years? He's like, yeah, I want to offer the 5-year warranty, but I want it written in a way that I can get myself out of it. And I'm just like, if you are a refinisher who does this professionally and you're telling customers with a straight face, yeah, it's going to last 10 to 15 years and we're going to cover it for 5 years, but you're trying to find a way to get out of it. I mean, do I need to say it? You're kind of being a hack,
Dude,
dude.
you're a hack.
So, and this is the part that surprised me. And I think it's very telling.
Yeah.
Uh, this gentleman in particular was answered by the guy who runs the group, who works for this manufacturer.
Yeah.
And he said that when the manufacturer had its own reglazing company in the past, that their 5-year warranty had fees that would incur after a certain amount of time. So they would cover the first year, no problem. Second year, no problem. Third year, half of the ticket, 50%. And then the last 2 years, 75% of the ticket. And I'm like, what are you guaranteeing?
Right.
Like, how are you going to tell customers, yeah, it lasts 10 to 15 years and I believe in my product. I believe in the application.
Yeah.
Not only that, you're getting it made, you're getting it installed by the people who manufacture it, who tell you it lasts 10 to 15 years.
Yep.
But you're going to charge people to come back the third and fourth year, or fourth and fifth year. I when I see that, it tells me that they have no faith
Right.
in the application.
Yep.
And if you're afraid, if your defense is going to be, well, people are going to fuck it up. Well, number one, either you're not communicating effectively enough on how to take care of it,
Yep.
or you know that what you're selling isn't that great.
Right.
It has to be one of the two or both.
And
Um,
I want to just say this real quick because just last November, the guy I worked for, he's like, man, my tub's kind of peeling up a little bit.
mhm,
He's like, I got it done 15 years ago. I'm like, okay. I go and I'm looking at it. I sand it and it feathered perfectly.
yep.
And I was just like, damn,
Someone
dog.
did a banger job.
Someone did a banger job on that. And I went and I told him, I was like, listen, dude, this is an awesome tub. I was like, I'll respray it, but this is going to hold for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Just clean it, take care of it, and you got it. But like whoever did that job, I commend you because I know you're out there killing it on these tubs, man, and there isn't a lot of people out there doing that.
Yeah. I question, like, you know, I just question why you want to see a way out of it. Like, if you, again, there was another conversation going on in that group too, and I was 100% with the guy where, like, it was in that same post, and the guy was like, "Yeah, don't try to get out of it. Like,
Yep.
offer a 5-year warranty, and just do the absolute best job possible to guarantee that it'll at least last 5 years,
Yeah.
because you don't want to lose clients
No.
to a warranty. At the end of the day, the big guys offer a 5-year
Yep.
warranty, um, and that the big company, right? They offer a 5-year warranty, and if you're telling people that it's going to last 10 to 15 years and you're not willing to cover it for 5 years, then you know that there's something wrong.
Absolutely.
And this is one of the things that surprised me, is that people are hating on our coding and what we're doing. Like, but it's like, dude, half of y'all like won't even do a 5-year warranty.
Right.
It's like, if you don't believe in your product enough to offer a 5-year warranty, when I was using urethane, we were offering a lifetime warranty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's because once I started using Crosslink, along with etching and doing every step, what
It was just holding up really well.
it was just holding up so well that I was like, this is not coming off.
Yeah.
And what it would take for it, like, pretty much I incorporated the people are gonna fuck it up
Yeah.
into my business model. It's like, okay, well, we'll just handle the warranty calls when they come,
Yep.
and we're providing value. And because our warranty is stronger, we will get more people, and
Absolutely.
that will offset the cost of that. And even then, like I told you before, when we started using Crosslink and we upped the warranty, it happened when we started using Crosslink hand in hand. It was like very rare we would get a call back.
Right.
So, but then this other thing happened where I started using this other coding, and now I really feel like, yeah, like this shit ain't coming off. I mean,
Right.
you saw what, like,
No,
we threw
absolutely.
it,
Dude, that's crazy product.
exactly. So now I'm like, how are you guys, like, they like hate on what I'm doing,
Yep.
but then they're like, how do I get out of the warranty over here? It's like, wow, like, a guy like yourself who does it, your work and you know what you can do.
Right.
You know that it should last 5, 10, 15 years, and you're going to warranty it for at least 5. But
Absolutely.
some of these other guys that, like, again, they just throw shade over here. They're not even willing to cover their own work for 5 years.
Yep.
And it, to me, again, that's just hackery, bro.
As I said, dude, I worked for a guy who decided to use someone else, and he used them, and he messed up completely. And he tried calling him back, nothing. He ran away from his phone numbers. Like phone calls, anything blocked.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you're going to try to file a lawsuit,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're down to $800, dollars. Like, bro, you cheap out, you get screwed, and that there is those people out there that are willing to take advantage of everyone that they can.
Mm-hmm.
I've done so many tubs where I have no effort taking a razor blade and it just comes off.
Yeah.
And whenever I see that, I'm just like, man, these guys got screwed.
Yeah. And it sucks too, because a lot of these guys, they're not bad people. Like, it, people need to, like, stop conflating the two things. for all these grown men in these groups, they really get their fucking feelings hurt,
Oh,
bro.
absolutely.
It's like I always try to supply criticism from a point of like, been there, done that. This is why you shouldn't do it.
Yep.
But they take it as you're attacking me, and it's like, no, that's not what I'm
Yeah.
doing. Um, you got to remember, there's a people in suits at that company that made a 5-year warranty for a reason,
Yep.
and the reason is look up how, on average, how often people move.
Yep.
4 to 6 years. So if you're not at least offering that, then like, yeah, I think that's kind of a problem.
Right.
And then the one-offs that like because it really is rare that people stay in a place 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
The situations change, they're going to school somewhere, their kids moved out, they're downsizing, whatever. Um, in those cases, if it's after the 5 years, it is what it is. Then you charge them a service call, whatever. But I mean, you got to remember, like, if you're having a pretty much what I'm getting at is if you're having an influx of warranty calls, you're doing something wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if it's been less than 5 years.
Yep.
That's just what it is.
Just
So getting out of it is not the answer. Going back to the drawing board and going over your process and talking and communicating and networking with people and figuring out how they are getting the results consistent is what you should be doing.
right.
Um,
Like, let's say I've been doing this on my own for 3 years,
mhm.
right? And I already mentioned that I had that one job where it just peeled up, but that was my own fault. That was one of my first jobs in Florida, not really knowing how well, like,
And it happens.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's just
totally.
part of learning.
But like I said, even then I went back 2 times since, and I fixed it. And they're still hitting me up because they own other properties too, and they're like, "Hey, Mike, we got this property here. Come do a bathtub," because they know I'm going to come back out if they even have an issue.
Yep.
They're like, if you don't take care of your customers, they are your bread and butter. They It's up to them to give you your job, to give you your money, to make sure that you are prosperous in whatever business that you're pursuing. It's the customer. And if you don't rub them the right way, you might as well lose your business in the year.
At the end of the day, it is 100% accurate. You got to take care of the customers. It doesn't mean to bend to their will or if
No.
they're be. It just means that like everybody out there that owns a business, when the customer's right.
Right.
And when you know they're right, just let them know. And you just address the issue. We've all had difficult customers. We've all had ones that have been unreasonable in the past.
Oh yeah.
And for those people, like what we always try to do is come at it from an angle of empathy.
Yep.
So I like if somebody fucks something up like crazy, like you know, 9 out of 10 times we're gonna go and fix it. But in like what I don't tolerate is in hotels, resorts, stuff like that, where I'm doing volume work.
Yeah.
Like if I tell you do not touch tubs for 24 hours, and I tell your staff and I tell management and I tell everybody because I cover my bases because I've been doing this for a long time. If you fuck up 10 of my tubs, you're paying.
Yep.
Like, and again, it's the context. Like the one-off customer who does something at someone's house, fine. You know what I mean? But not only have all these staff at hotels worked at hotels forever,
Yep.
they've all had work done before. And also, they're a gigantic mega company.
Yep.
Like, if you're gonna expect that if I mess something up, that I'm gonna fix it. So why does the same rules not apply the other way?
Absolutely.
So I always set up that precedent from the jump. There was a situation literally last week at a property we're doing,
Yep.
where the GCs like, I told them 24 hours. They have us working nights. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's not even a problem. But I told them your morning crew cannot step on the tubs; they'll be wet.
Yes.
We finish at 11 o'clock at night. The next morning, 7 a.m. There's people stepping in the tubs,
Yep.
and they're still wet. And they mess them up, and then they call us like, "Hey, what's going on with the tubs? These are all messed up." And I'm like, "You're not supposed to step on them until 11
Dude.
p.m. tonight. It's 24 hours. It's not 12. It's not 10."
And that's one thing I have such a problem with is like we're finishing. We should be one last, I think.
Towards the end.
There's been so many times where I've gone to do jobs. I was doing countertops in Fort Lewis, Washington, on the Army base.
Cool.
And so they got us running around. We're hitting house, house, house. I was doing maybe 2, 3 houses a day. But then all these other contractors are coming in behind me. I left my gun at one of the houses, so I go back to the house and I to get my gun. I see a toolbox sitting right on the countertop that I just painted. I'm like, dude, set it down, and I'm like, man, you just fucked up my shit, dude. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, do you not smell the air? Like, you got two brain cells in there, bud?
What also happens too, man, is that the the people who hire you don't communicate to other people. I don't
Right.
know what other work is going on. You hire me for the tubs or the counters. We're in there to do the mission, right?
And
And if
it's always someone doesn't. Yeah,
and
I don't know how that happened.
and it's the complex's responsibility to be like, hey, there's going to be other people working, so that we can tell them, hey, hands off.
Yep.
But if you don't tell us, and if you don't tell them, then it's on you.
Yep.
And especially when it's a commercial setting, I am a lot less forgiving than residential because, again, people make mistakes, individuals. A lot of people have never had work done in their house or very rarely, but properties get serviced all the time.
Oh yeah.
They know. And a lot of the times they're just banking on not stirring the pot at all,
Right.
not rocking the boat. So they don't talk to anybody. They let everybody do them. And
Yep.
then they'll get pissed off like, oh, what happened there? And it's like, dude, lack of communication on your end is what happened,
Right.
realistically. Um, but yeah, I wanted to touch on that with the warranties and stuff like that because I do think it's interesting. Everyone has their different way of going about it. I'm kind of the same mindset where I offer a lifetime warranty, knowing that most of my customers will never use it.
Right.
But here's the thing: most people buy warranties knowing they'll never use them.
Yep.
They do it for the peace of mind, so
Yep.
that they know that if something does happen, I'm
Yeah.
covered. It's the
Absolutely.
same reason why people buy travel insurance. It's like, hey, I know my flight is probably not going to be delayed. It's never been delayed, but if it happens today, I'd like for it to be covered. And
Absolutely.
that's literally what we try to do. It's like I know that most of my customers will move between 6 and 10 years, and it won't be my problem.
Yep.
But for the one customer who stayed in their house for 15 years and it starts to chip, I am now getting a customer for life
Yep.
from them for going back and fixing it, no questions asked.
For sure.
And that I really like that because I put myself in the customer's position. If I'm investing in something in my home, I want to know that the company believes in what they're doing.
Right.
So if you offer like a 1 year warranty, which like for commercial applications, I get it, especially if you're doing apartments where they don't take care of anything.
Yep.
But if you're doing a 1 year residential warranty, you're basically telling the customer this shit ain't gonna last.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Totally.
Um, Especially if you're like, yeah, we only cover it for a year, but it lasts for 15. Um, that's all they hear.
That's all they hear.
And a lot of people have asked me, well, why do GCs only offer a 1 year warranty? Well, that's different because all of the stuff that you install in a house comes with a manufacturer warranty that supersedes the 1 year warranty the builder does. The builder just
Right.
installs the stuff.
Yep.
They build it and they install it. But if you buy a refrigerator, like that refrigerator has a 1 year warranty for from the GC,
Yep.
but the refrigerator has its own manufacturer warranty.
Yep.
And so like that's the difference. It's like, in this space, because we use coatings, the manufacturers can't be held accountable
Right.
because they don't know how the people are applying it.
Right.
If you under catalyze and the shit didn't dry, that's on you.
Yep.
And so like I get it. So at the end of the day, we just have to take more responsibility because of the type of industry we're in.
Absolutely.
And again, not everyone needs to do a lifetime warranty. I'm not saying that, but like 5 years should be like the minimum standard.
Absolutely.
Like there's no reason, especially if you're telling customers 10 to 15 years.
Right.
Like, okay, you're covering a third of it. That's fine.
And I'm gonna just put that out there. If you're just starting and you say like you're gonna do a 1 to 3 year warranty, I get it. You're just starting out, but everybody else out there is doing 5 years
Yeah.
or more, obviously.
Everybody who believes in what they're doing is
Yep.
minimum doing a
Yep.
5 year.
Don't say let me do 1 year because you're kind of worried or anything like that. Like just stick to your guns, man, because like me, I came from nothing and I'm building up, but you just got to do it, man. Trust yourself, trust your product, trust your work. Don't skimp.
Yeah, 100%. Like you just like you can't expect people to believe in what you're selling if you don't believe it.
Right.
So, that's like one of the oldest things in business. It's like you need to be able to believe that what you're selling is good, and I believe in what I do. I know you do what you're doing, and as you scale too, you will need to make sure that your systems are foolproof and that you're going to be consistent, but trying to get out of it in some weaselly way, like saying that, yeah, like at the end of the day, it's bad business. You're not lying, but you're skirting on the line of lying if you tell someone, here's a 5-year warranty, but by the way, after 2 years, you really just got to pay me again.
You just so you know, you're gonna be paying for that shit.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Um, but yeah, man. So real briefly for people who might not know, usually I ask this first, but I'm changing it up,
Mm.
because usually I don't want the episodes to feel so formulaic, right? Like where it's like repetible or
Oh yeah,
repeatable. But I want to touch base on how you got into the industry in the beginning.
got you, man. So I got into the business after COVID happened. I used to paint aerospace, so I was working for a couple companies for I would say about 8 years, just painting aerospace. COVID happened, got laid off. Uh, some miracle meth head hit me up, and they're like, "Yo, dude, we do this countertop and bathtub stuff," and I was like, "Dude, this is a joke, right? Whatever, I'll go check it out." No, I was like, "Yo, this is pretty sick." And then, they're like, "Well, Mike, if you get on this, we're gonna give you this percentage, and then you're gonna be making some pretty good money." I'm like, "Okay, cool." But they ended up keeping me at like $14 an hour for like a year,
Okay.
and then I went up to $18 an hour. But and still, I wasn't making no money doing that. So eventually, I smashed his truck. Sorry, Murph. And then I quit. And then my buddy hit me up and he's like, "Hey, Mike, I saw what you were doing with the countertops and the bathtubs. Let's start a business. I got a kid in Florida. Let's go to Florida." See, there's like 7,000 people moving there every year
Hmm.
or every month or something like that. And I'm like, "All right, dude, cool." So I saved up my money. I bought all the equipment I needed. I got in touch with a company. I came down to South Carolina, worked for them for a little bit, got a house in Florida. And this is what I'm going to say to you folks real quick. If you start a business with a buddy, make sure they're in this 110%. Because if there's any sort of flip flopping at all, dump that bitch.
With anybody that you're partnering with, 100%,
They need
ev-
to be
ev-
there with you.
everyone needs to be on board 100%. And one of the most important things before you continue, the roles of everybody involved needs to be defined,
Yep.
because if not, then people are like, "Oh, you're doing this, but I'm doing all of this," and it's always some
Right.
back and forth. But go ahead.
Right. But so like let's say I came here in February. It took this guy till October to get here. And I'm sending him messages. I'm like, "Hey dude, I'm spending 2,000 a month on rent. I'm spending 1,400 a week on on Angie ads. I'm spending this much money on paint." And I was like, "Dude, you're supposed to be here. You told me you would be here. And then when you show up, you have a meth addiction."
And it was his idea to move to
And it was
Florida.
his idea to come to Florida because guess what? You had a kid here.
Hmm.
Not cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like essentially, long story short, he's like, "Dude, I never wanted to start a business with you. I just came here to be with my kid." And I'm like, "Yo, I got screwed." And then on top of that, uh, before all that happened, I got scammed. I ended up going like negative $9,000 in a bank account. I had to take out a loan to get a house. And then I was completely broke. I was borrowing money from the bank and then I couldn't pay it back. I ended up homeless. Dude, it sucked. Don't bring anybody on or don't start a business with somebody unless you know for a fact. And the only reason why I trusted this guy is because I was friends with him since I was 14.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
Man, a business it's a very like sensitive thing. I mean, we've had falling outs with family members and everything's okay now, but in the past it's happened where
Yeah,
we've worked with family, got them employed, and then things happen and there's tension, and it's just it sucks when there's money involved and stuff. Like people, they act different. And
Very much.
if you don't clearly define the rules, especially with friends, where it's like they're not family but they're close to you, um, I've found that like the communication aspect of it needs to be 100%. And before you commit, I mean, you committed 100% because you trusted the guy,
Yep.
right? But if what like in hindsight, you might have waited until he moved to maybe come down here.
Right, dude.
But I mean, you believed in him and you trusted him, and But at the end of the day, those kinds of things get you to where you are now. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Where you have a business that's doing well, and you're looking to you know build something bigger for yourself, and maybe it's a blessing in disguise, bro. Because
Oh no, it
now
definitely was.
it's just now it's just you, and you get to dictate how you want to run it, and the money is yours, and
Absolutely.
can you imagine entrusting someone like that, and then after, what if it would have gone another way, right? What if it's like, what if everything would have worked out, and then once you guys start working together, then you find out about his addiction,
Right.
and now you're like, oh hell no, and now
Right.
you're relying on him,
Yep.
and kudos to you for the resiliency, bro, to like go from homeless to pretty much having your own business and doing everything
Hey, dude,
yourself.
like, so I ended up homeless, and then, like, I lost my phone number, I lost everything. So, I had to get a new number, I had to bring that back up. Lost all my contacts of who I worked for like a year,
Hmm.
dude. And then building it back up from absolutely nothing, it's hard. And
Hmm.
then not only that, I wasn't using Angie's anymore. So now I'm going door to door, and I was getting maybe anywhere from like 15 to 20 jobs a month down to like four.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but not paying all that money for Angie's. And then, like, let's say just last week I did a job that could carry me all month,
Yep.
you know, God bless. I'm so thankful for those jobs. But then again, those don't always come. More than likely, I'm going to be getting more tubs than anything.
Hmm.
It's not every day I get countertops, because another thing is that a lot of people don't know about countertop
Yep.
refinishing. It's totally like a new thing, a new concept to them.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
I mean, commendable fucking journey, bro, because a
Yeah,
lot of people don't come out from that, and you're resilient enough to come through, and honestly, bro, uh honestly, that you're a dude of character. I could tell from the beginning, because when me and you were talking in the comments,
yeah,
like I told you, bro, I've had other people. I had a gentleman in particular that blocked me. He was accusing me of faking the Tubcast
right.
videos, and he was like, oh, I don't need to come down over there and look. I already know it's bullshit. He's in Orlando. I'm like, bro, just come.
Just
I
check
was
it
like, bro,
out.
I'll give you $100. Just come. And
Right.
he's like, I'm not gonna go over there. I already know it's bullshit. Whatever. And then he blocks me, and I'm just like, what a fucking pussy.
Strip that ego, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It's like at the end of the day, like I could tell you're a dude of character, because you're like, you know what, bro? I'm a little skeptical. I'm gonna go over there and check it out,
Yeah,
and you did, and you have criticism of it, and that's fine.
absolutely.
But you came, and
Yeah,
you opened your mind to something else,
absolutely.
and like now where like, hey man, that should these are the things that I didn't like about it, but it's bulletproof. It opens up another door to
Which
other stuff.
I gotta say how amazing that and strong that is. Like,
Yeah.
that blows my mind.
Yeah, 100%, and I appreciate that. Yeah, it's what we're like. Really, man, what I'm trying to do is change the way we look at these types of coatings and
Right.
what we should expect out of them.
Yeah.
Mostly that, right? Because, like I said, we use urethanes for decades, but there's always been something in the back of my mind, always, 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 that these coatings need to be more durable.
Yep.
Um, even when I know the job is 100% perfect, like when I ask refinishers, I'm going to ask you, do you think that these coatings are strong enough for what we're using them for all the time?
So, like, what we're using them for? So, like, taking baths and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
like do you think that it's durable enough to where like there shouldn't be room for improvement?
Oh, I think there's always room for improvement.
Exactly.
I
And so
always think there's room for
there's
improvement.
people who are purists where they're like, no, it has to be this. This is, I mean, these coatings have been being used since the 90s. And it's like, dude, like there can be better.
Right.
There's like, again, I'm of the same mindset. There's always room for improvement. So these guys that are like, no, well, you know, we want to use, urethane forever the way it is now and not elevate and not change and not
Right.
try different stuff. Uh, I'm not with that because when I see something like this, does it have some shortcomings? Sure. Um, but when I see something like this, it just to me it excites me because I'm like, if something like this is possible, then that means that these other guys eventually are going to start making better products.
Yeah.
And then, competition kicks in, everyone's making something newer and better that's going to be
Yep.
better for us. But the guys who run the shows right now,
Yep.
they're all cool with the status quo, bro.
Right.
Because it's cheap, it's been around for a long time.
Yep.
Because it's been around, it's cheaper. And they're just mass manufacturing and they don't have to worry about research and development, trying a new product, and the risks that come with trying something new, obviously, because it's new, right? It might
Unless China cuts off all the chemical
Exactly.
supply.
Exactly. So, but this product in particular, this one's existed for 15 years in its current state.
Yeah.
It's just the first time that it's being used in the United States by a refinishing company, like in mass.
Right.
It's been, like I told you, it's been used as a DIY product in the past, but um, yeah, what I think about with this in particular, just anything we're doing in business
Yeah.
is how we can be better, how we can get a better product for the client, and how we can make it safer and better for the guys installing
Yep.
it. And this ticked every box for me so far. And is it a perfect system? That remains to be seen. But um, I'm willing to take the risk to try something different.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And like as as I was saying before, how we even started this conversation, like I've been a sprayer my whole life,
mhm.
or at least my whole career. And so like when I see somebody pouring on it, I'm like, oh, heresy.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I can't watch that. But then like, as I saw, you're like, hey, come check it out. It's a little, it looks, what can I say? It looks peely,
yeah.
but that's to be expected if
Mhm.
you're not using HVLP equipment. But that stuff is so thick you can't even run it through a gun,
And I
right?
mean, you saw me sand it. I sanded it with a 300, and it
Yeah,
and it didn't leave scratches in it.
right, dude. That's
So,
so cool.
so like the way I think of it too is like if we don't, and that was rolled on. If we don't perfect the roll on
Right.
to where we can make the texture perfect every time,
Yep.
I am willing to pay a guy to go buff it real quick with a
Yeah.
real buffer the next morning
Right.
to save his fucking lungs. So
Absolutely.
no, he doesn't have to spray. Okay, and I think we can because like I told you, one of the guys from South Carolina that's been using it for a little
Yeah.
while, he uh, swears he has the rolling down to a science to where it glasses out every time perfect.
Yeah.
So if I see that and we can recreate it, perfect. If not,
Hell yeah.
I'm willing to just go and buff it the next day and we're good. Um,
Which is
but
something that, a lot of a lot of the main people do is like
yeah,
they'll do a spray and then they'll do a polish right
exactly,
after, which
exactly,
is so normal.
exactly. It's already part of. I mean, the big company.
Right.
That's how they became famous.
Like
The next day detail.
the only reason why I don't offer a polish is because I only charge maybe like $300 for a tub.
Okay.
If they want to give me, 450 or more for a tub, hell yeah, I'll polish that shit all day because, you're not only spending for the paints, you're spending for the sandpapers and
100%. And the
the
time, and you
tools
got
and
to
the
put
time.
gas to go over there again and all that.
I
So I
could
get it.
say that it takes me longer to polish a tub than it does
To spray.
to spray
Yeah. Well, and
it.
also, because it's you doing it and you know your work and you know how you want it to come out, you can control and you don't have to like if you sit there and you already have a system, your tubs will come out without anything in them.
Oh,
There's no
absolutely.
reason to buff them. Like
Right.
if you like there's a lot of guys who done this so much that there's no imperfections in the tub really. Like you look at it, there's no little dust or anything.
Right.
And you don't got to buff it, but when you're doing like high volume, like the big company or even similar to stuff we do here, sometimes you have different levels of guys. You have the real experience, you have guys that are kind of experienced, and then you have guys who are low level.
Yep.
How do you bail out the low level guys or the guys that might make a mistake every now and then? You bake in a second day
Yep.
for someone to go in and do a quick touch up, and then
Yep.
you keep on rolling.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're charging enough to justify it.
Yep.
So I'm in agreement there. Um, Yeah, we're about 34 minutes in. I'm going to end it soon, but is there any other questions, comments, anything you want to touch base on before we end it, bro?
I would love to give a shout out to my boy Mario. He's the guy who worked for the company,
Okay.
and he also taught me pretty much everything. So Mario, you're the man. I love you, dude. And Tamara, you're great. I love you too. Thank you for everything, guys. And thank you for having me, man. It's been an awfully awesome thing. I've never done this before, so I'm
You did a good job, man.
yeah, dude.
I always see that's why I don't like and anybody who wants to come on, you can, email or text us and I get you on, but I always try to not pre-plan the conversation too much
Uh,
because it becomes like you're thinking and about how to talk and really, bro, the best way to do this is just as a conversation.
yeah, and like last night you hit me up and you're like, "Hey, you gonna be here?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be there."
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, that's it. Like
You know?
I don't want to make it weird. I don't want to be like, hey, we're going to talk about this. So think
Right.
about what you're gonna. No, I like a
None of
real
this is
conversation.
scripted.
Exactly.
None of this is
A
scripted.
real conversation is what people want to hear. That's what we're doing, and it's honest, and that's what I like about it.
Absolutely, man.
I'm glad. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And yeah, man. As we go, and as we experiment with these things, maybe one day we can get you in the shop, and you can mess with the product yourself and test it out.
Absolutely.
And man, become good friends. You might be opportunities for us to work together too.
Absolutely.
So um, I appreciate it. And again, thanks for coming on and being a part of it, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And last thing I would love to say is Jesus is king and God bless.
100%. Amen to that, brother.
Amen.
All right, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Yeah, yeah.
You've been listening to the Bathtub Refinishing Podcast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to keep up with the Bathtub Guys on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, or visit BathTubGuys.com for more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.